The central bank has been backstopping the biggest spending spree in US history. The budget deficit through the first 6 months of fiscal 2021 came in at an all-time record of $1.7 trillion. Peter Schiff talked about all these issues recently and gave his views about inflation and the monetary policy. He said that anything approaching normal monetary policy would stop the spending gravy train. For that reason alone, the Fed can't unwind its extraordinary loose monetary policy. So, not only do we have to cancel any future stimulus, but we have to take back the stimulus of the past. We have to deliver either substantial cuts to government spending or tax increases, and not just to the rich, but to the average Americans. We just see more and more inflation, and so that is the way all the government is going to be paid for through the inflation, which means consumer prices are going to go up. Talking about the Fed's recovery plan, Peter said that it's laughable. First of all, we don't even have a recovery. What we have is inflation, and it's that inflation that's masquerading as a recovery. But the economy itself is a mess. It's weak, it hasn't recovered. All we are doing is spending the money that our Federal Reserve prints. But that money printing, that is inflation. And that's what's driving the appearance of economic growth. But this is a bubble. It's a disaster waiting to happen, and prices ultimately are going to skyrocket. Maybe they have the tools to deal with it, but they'll never use them, because in doing so, they'll destroy the house of cards that they worked so hard to erect. On his views about increasing interest rates, Peter believes that it doesn't harm the economy, it harms the bubble by popping it. But what they need to do is reserve everything they have been doing. So they need to start shrinking the money supply and allowing interest rates to rise. And that's going to pop bubbles all over the place, including forcing the US government to massively cut their spending. So not only do we have to cancel any future stimulus, but we have to take back the stimulus of the past as well. We have to deliver either substantial cuts to government spending or tax increases, and not just to the rich, but to the average Americans. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen. We might just see more and more inflation. That is the way all the government is going to be paid for, through the inflation, which means consumer prices are going to go through the roof. Peter adds up that we are on autopilot here on the road to inflation. And remember, the Federal Reserve said the same thing about the mortgage crisis in the early days of subprime. They said there is no reason to worry about it. Everything is fine. It's contained to subprime. Countering this, Peter says that they were completely wrong. We had a financial crisis. Now they are saying the same thing about the big rise in consumer prices and the producer prices. Anybody who is not blind can see it. And the Fed is saying again that there is no need to worry because it's all transitory. Now the question here is, how do they know it's transitory? Inflation is just as transitory now as subprime was contained then. They were wrong then, and they are even more wrong this time. Now talking about gold, Peter said that it was down again recently. A lot of people who hold gold are getting frustrated because they see all the inflation and they are wondering why gold is not reacting. The reason gold is not really moving up is because most of the people in the market believes the Fed. They believe that the Fed will put out an inflation fire before it gets too big. They actually think that inflation will be contained. When they realize that it won't be, the inflation is headed much higher and that there's absolutely nothing the Fed is prepared to do about it. That's when the price of gold is really going to take off, because people are going to buy a lot of gold then. Once you know the system is failing and the economy is going to crash, fiat currency will lose its value. Then people will look for safe options. They will try to get rid of the cash they have in that case. And they are going to do that by investing in assets. And the best assets to invest in these times are physical assets like gold and silver. So that will increase the demand for gold in the market. Now gold being a physical asset, it has a limited supply. Now when you have a great demand for gold and the supply is limited, there will be more competition to buy that, as it is a safe asset. But due to these stimulus packages and the low interest rates, people have a huge supply of the money, so they will be ready to pay more for the gold. Thus, it causes an increase in the price of gold. Here we get to one more thing. Low interest rates and stimulus packages increase the supply of money, which means more people will have more money to spend. Thus, there will be a buying competition in every field, which will cause the inflation or the rise in the prices. It will in turn decrease the value of the currency as people have to pay more money now to buy the same amount as compared to before, thus decreasing the value of cash. When asked about cryptocurrencies, Peter says that the only cryptocurrency that would make sense would be legitimate cryptocurrencies. Just like I don't like fiat currency, that is paper currency backed by real money. I don't like fiat digital currency. But if you have a digital currency that's backed by gold and redeemable in gold, well then that's fine. That's great. That would work perfectly. But the problem here is governments don't like that. So if there are credible digital currencies backed by gold, everybody would prefer those currencies to the dollar, euro or yen. So guys, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about Peter's thoughts? Also, if you found this video really informative, then please make sure press the like button, subscribe to our channel. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, enjoy your day.